Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team. Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joey Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Big show for you today. We're going to talk to David Frei. You know him as the host of NBC's, the dog show on Thanksgiving?
The National Dog Show.
National Dog Show?
Yes.
Also, he is the director of communications for the Westminster Kennel Club. And why are we talking to him, you say? Nobody said that really, huh? Well, we're talking to him because they're now going to allow mixed breeds and mutts into Westminster.
Yeah, can they compete? That's what I want to know.
I want to find out the details. I think that's good because...
I don't know if I like that.
Why not?
Why?
Well, because then they're going to start selling mutts, and instead of people going to the shelters and getting them out of the shelters, they're going to start selling these dogs as designer breeds all over again.
Oh, they already do.
No. You have it all way back, backwards there. People see these breeds on the television, and they want to go out and get these breeds instead of adopting a mutt that's at your shelter.
Yeah, you can't go to a breeder and get a mutt, so they're going to go to the shelters and try to find dogs.
I hope you're right, because the AKC needs money, and I know that, more registries mean more money. So,
okay, well, we'll find out all the details. That's a good question. In fact, we'll ask him about that in just a couple of minutes right here. We're also going to talk to this guy. He's Bill Wynne is his name, and I'm thinking he was in World War II. He's probably
in his
late 80s or early 90s.
Yeah, I would think so.
I would imagine. So he's over there. He's fighting this big war for us, and he runs into a little 4-pound Yorkshire Terrier.
Where it came from?
I have such a small little dog, too.
Yeah.
So what did he do? Of course, he held on to that dog for many, many years, and he'll tell us his story coming up in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Stacy, what do you got going on there in the newsroom?
Well, do you and your dogs exercise together? And you wonder, is your dog really getting a good workout to the oldies? No longer have to do that now. There's a fitness tracker for your dog. Yes, I'll tell you all about it, and you can actually tell how fit your dog is becoming when he puts it on. I'll give you the details coming up on Animal Radio News.
Oh, we're going to 4 or 5. Isaac. Hey, Isaac, how are you doing?
Fine. How you doing today?
Good. I understand you want to talk to Alan. He's right here. Come on over here, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hal. I love being treated like a lady.
Oh, that's cute. Are you ready for my question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Basically, my dog, he has tremors, okay? And I mean, not the typical kind like when water gets on him, but just like this real tremors, real shakes, real hard. And he like, if we're in the middle of playing, he'll stop in the middle of playing and does a shaking. Should I be concerned about that?
Yeah, you know what, buddy? You should take him to a vet right away, because usually dogs shake when they're either scared or cold, and if they're shaking for any other reason, like you're describing, just suddenly out of the blue like that, there could be a medical condition.
Okay.
And definitely a medical condition. There's some chronic conditions that a dog could have that would cause a dog to shake like that. Including being an old dog or ingesting some sort of poison. But if he does it over a prolonged period, longer than 10 minutes, usually it's an indication that there's something wrong.
No, he doesn't. No, he does it about a minute or two. That's it. About a minute or two. But he does it regularly. I mean, he does it only about a minute or two. That's it. Just real quick shakes, but it's a hard shake. And then he goes on playing, and then maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, he'll shake again. And he does this all day.
What do you do?
Only about a minute or two. They're not that long at all.
Is it a shake? He's been doing it forever. How long has he been doing this?
I've only had him about 4 or 5 months. He's about 14, 15 months old.
And is it cold or does
it? I got him out of a backyard. He's a rescue dog, and he's a canine patrol dog. And we're getting ready to go to canine police school, so that's what I've turned him into.
Let me ask you this: How did you turn him into that? What are you doing? What do you do when he shakes? What do you do? What's your reaction when he?
Because I don't know what to do. I don't even respond.
Okay.
Like when I'll pet him and rub him, he'll shake. If he's just walking along, he'll shake. So anything will make him shake, or he just shakes on his own. I'm not beating him, pulling, or tugging on him to make him doing anything. He could just walk along, and he starts shaking. I call them tremors. They're more than shake. They're tremors.
You sound like a pretty nervous guy yourself. Do you pet him when he shakes? Do you talk to him when he shakes? Do you give him any attention?
Because I don't know what to do.
Right.
I don't even. I pretend like they're not happening because I don't know.
You know what, buddy?
Because if I do something, I might be reinforcing that. So I don't know.
Yes, that's smart. Take him to a vet just to make sure there's nothing wrong. And then if there's nothing wrong with him, it's just some sort of learned behavior that he's got. And I don't know where that stems from or where that comes from, but I know that dogs usually shake when they're either afraid or cold. That's usually when it happens.
Exactly, but there's no reason for when he's afraid, he kind of runs. He gets out of the kill zone, as I call it. That's his thing, showing fear. He'll flight. He's one of those kind of dogs that if he doesn't like it, he'll get out of the way of it, or that's what he'll do. But
take him to the vet.
That's it.
Take him to the vet and make sure there's nothing physically wrong. And then, that's not really a problem that he shakes, is it? I mean, if there's nothing physically wrong with him and the vet gives you a clear bill of health, then, I wouldn't worry about something like that. It's just some sort of behavior that he adopted. If you can recognize the triggers, though, there might be a trigger. If he's physically okay, take him
one of the triggers is that when I pet him, he shakes. If I put some cream or something on him, the cream doesn't burn or nothing, because I put it on me first, make sure. Because he'll get a little ashy. Because I guess flies or something gets in his neck, and it looks like he's getting like a rash. So I put some ointment on him, and he'll shake. If I pet him, he'll shake. Or if he's just walking along, nothing bothering him, nothing in his way, he'll shake. And I'm not, so that's what's really kind of strange. So
it's an interesting behavior.
Happy, right? As you can tell in my voice, I'm very hyper. But I don't.
Well, a lot of times, believe it or not, the way you behave has so much to do with the way your dog behaves. And
I agree with that, but I don't. Like I said, I'm casually walking along, whistling, looking over, because I monitor myself. I said, well, is it me? And I'll make sure that it's not me, because I'm so calm when I'm around him, and we're not doing anything. Because I figured, okay, maybe because I'm pulling on his leash too much, or maybe because I'm making him sit when he doesn't want to sit.
Well, see, just because you're thinking, but you're telling me you're calm, but the fact that you're thinking these things in your mind makes you uncalm. It makes you uncalm. The essence of calm is you're not thinking at all. You're just walking along. You're not walking. You're not thinking. You're not thinking when you're calm. Take your dog to the vet. Make sure there's nothing wrong. And then before you take your dog anywhere, play with your dog, whatever it is, tell yourself you don't care about the shaking and stop being nervous. You're a very nervous person. And believe me, your dog gets that. Your dog feels that. It goes right into him.
I'm shaking.
I would not. One more question. He sniffs a lot.
Joey's
He sniffs
shaking.
everything. Is that just a normal behavior for a dog? I mean, he's a sniffing son of a gun.
You mean the shaking?
No, the sniffing. One more.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, you're even nervous about the sniffing. Now you're worried about sniffing. Yes, dogs do love to sniff. That is a total, typical, average, everyday dog behavior that dogs love to engage in. They love to sniff everything. That's how they learn about the world. That's how Joey learns about the world.
I sniff.
Okay. I saw a puppy get out of a yard yesterday, and I tried to bring him back in, and he just takes off running. The dogs normally, when they get a shot to get out of the yard, they just run away. Or there's no need.
You are so, dude. You are so funny. Okay, you need to get a book and read about dog behavior, because that will calm your dog right down. Yes, that is also a typical dog behavior, that they will run away. They're playing and they want attention, and they haven't been obedience trained. So the first thing they're going to try to do is get you to chase them, because that's what dogs love to do. They love to chase and they love to be chased, just like women.
Yeah. I know a lot about that, brother. I've chased quite a few myself. Okay, well, I won't keep it, because I know the folks are waiting, but you gave me some really good information, and you're right. I do, like you said, but what really made me nervous with him was that when I'm not thinking about the trims, he starts trembling. They're real hard shakes, so I'm like, what's up with that fella? But I don't respond to him. I just kind of leave him alone, because I don't know what to do. So
what you need to do is just take him to the vet, check him out, and then you need to learn to relax and get a book. There's so much information on dog behavior, not dog training, dog behavior. Okay. Read all about dog behavior and why they behave the way they do and how they think, and learn to speak dog. You will calm right down yourself.
Oh, gotcha. All right. I won't be able to communicate with my wife anymore, because I'll be speaking in dogs. She won't understand me.
Well, maybe you'll be better off.
Oh, you're probably right. Okay, thanks a lot. I really appreciate your help, okay?
Take care, buddy.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate your call.
I love how Hal didn't save you on that one.
Oh, no.
He didn't save you at all.
That was comedy gold, ladies and gentlemen.
That poor guy, he's going to call back next week. My dog blinks. My dog blinks when the sun is out. Is that normal? Is that normal behavior?
I was shaking listening to him. I had to go to the break room and come back, and then I started shaking again.
He's such a nice man, but he was very nervous. You could hear it in his voice. He's very nervous. And when a person person is nervous like that and doesn't understand dog behavior, it transcends. It goes right into the dog. It's almost like you're a conduit for that nervous electricity, and it goes right into the dog.
Why? You think the dog felt it? You think the dog felt that he was a little bit nervous? I think that dog, the dog was shaking a little bit, so I think he was nervous.
But it's so funny how he doesn't recognize it. He goes, "No, I'm calm, but I'm worried about the trembling. I'm worried about the sniffing. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about these. Worried about everything." And so, of course, he is nervous, even though he doesn't realize it.
Our dogs totally pick up on that.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
That's why I have the most laid-back dog.
Hey, I have a neighbor here, and he's petrified to let his dog around other dogs. He's got a very intelligent little blue heeler, and apparently when he was walking the dog somewhere, the dog was attacked by another dog. So now he's all freaked out. So I go by his house, and I'm like, Larry, he's like freaking out. He wants my dog and his dog to be together. I go, Larry, you've got to go in the house. Just go in the house. Because the energy coming out of this guy, he's telling his dog, yes, you have a good reason to be afraid of everything and everyone. So I got rid of him, and within 10 minutes, I had his dog acting like a dog again, sniffing around, sniffing my dog. They were playing. They're having a good time. As soon as he came back out, it all reverts back to the dog being a nervous wreck.
You are like a miracle worker,
I'm not, buddy. It's all, you know what? It's simple math. I mean, it's A plus B equals C every single time.
What? And that's more important than fashion? That he can control the nervous dog? And I'm telling you how your dog should be a fashion plate, but I get chewed up here?
Somebody who forces their dog to wear, faux pas, whatever you call that, fur, is probably a nervous person who's going to make their dog insane.
Listen, those are the people that keep you in business. So you should thank people like me for giving their dogs problems so you can train them to keep you in business. So you need to get on your knees and thank me.
What's next? You're going to send your dog to college. Next, it's going to be an education. Got to get your dog an education because he's got to get ahead in this world. It's very competitive for a dog now.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, this is John Sally, and you are listening to Animal Radio. Go vegan.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. That's 800-880-3141.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Now, Alan, I got to say, you look, you're red in the face, your jugular vein, there's a vein in your forehead that's sticking out. What's up, buddy?
Oh, my kids. I got a dog. I got a big dog.
Yes, Rudy.
Powerful dog. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my kids, their chore every day, they must play with him, and it's like a battle. It's like a war to get my kids to play with the dog.
Oh.
But they got to play with him at least a half hour to 40 minutes a day because he needs that to be happy. And that's the thing. It just upsets me that not only are my kids not living in the moment, because that's the beautiful lesson that dogs teach us. It upsets me when I go to the shelter. I go to the shelter a lot. I just listen to conversations of people at the dog park and at the shelter, and people are always talking about me. And I love people that love dogs. I really do. But I just wish people, before they pick the dog, would say to themselves, okay, I want a dog to satisfy a hole in my heart, a need that I have, but what does the dog need? What does this dog need that I'm looking at right here? What kind of a dog is this, and what does this dog need? Is this a dog that needs a lot of physical activity? Is this a dog that needs to pull something or carry something or run or chase after something? What are the traits of this dog and the breeds that this dog is made up of, and how will I satisfy those needs? Because I want this dog to be happy, and being happy is a two-way street. You have to be happy because that's why you're getting the dog, to satisfy a need that you have, and you must also reciprocate
reciprocate and make sure that you're satisfying this dog's needs so that he is a well-balanced and happy, well-adjusted family member. So please keep that in mind, folks. When you go to get a dog and you're looking at a dog, don't look at him and go, oh, he's so pretty. Oh, he's so cute. Do that. And then say to yourself, okay, but what are his needs? What is this dog going to need to be happy, fulfilled, and mentally well-balanced? What will I have to provide for this dog to be those things? Ask yourself that, research that before you bring the dog home. Because if you live in an apartment and you're gone 10 hours a day and you got a Shepherd Lab mix, that dog will go insane.
I'm totally guilty of picking out a dog or a cat, well, dog in particular, that I liked because it was just cute. And I didn't really think about, oh, is it going to need this exercise? What kind of dog?
Exactly.
And so I'm sure that there's other people out there that are looking around and saying they lucked out, like Judy. She lucked out. She was looking. Well, I guess she wasn't looking for a Jack Russell Terrier.
Because I did my research, and they're high energy dogs, and that is what I did not want.
You did not want
I did
one.
my research, but unfortunately,
Judy did her research.
Right, but I got a rescue dog that turned out to be 50% Jack Russell.
Yeah, so it was an accident for you.
It was an accident, but she does agility. She runs. She does a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah.
But it's astounding to me. Most people spend more time researching cars and what they're going to eat than they would a living thing, a dog that they're going to be committed to for years and years. I mean, it's up to you to make sure the dog is happy because he can't do it for himself. So, just think about that stuff. That's important stuff.
And it's also the same when picking a spouse. You should pick a spouse that has the same activity level as you or same interests as you. Because you don't want a spouse that's out jogging on the beach all the time while you're sitting watching Beavis and Butthead. And you are.
It's interesting with that, though. You really have no choice. Like a dog is a helpless participant. Like a spouse, like it's not like you can walk up to a woman and say, hey, I'm taking you home. That's it. You're coming. You're coming with me, woman. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, you can try.
Yeah.
That's caveman days where you beat him over the head and you drag him away.
Yep.
There she is, the lovely and helpless Dr. Debbie. She's a damsel in distress. She needs you. She needs you now. Call us here at Animal Radio.
Yes, we do. Oh, and that's the sound of the Diet Pepsi being uncorked.
Yes, it's a great vintage, great year. It's got a nice swirl in the can, and the taste on the front of the tongue is delicious.
Hey, Andrew, I smell bad. I better put on some deodorant.
Dr. Debbie, did you see the story about the dog that tested positive for cocaine and pot in New Mexico?
Was that Dennis Rodman's dog?
I think he's in rehab, isn't he?
Is he in rehab?
I don't know why. He seems so coherent on the television interviews.
Hey, Dr. Debbie, did you see Richard Sherman go off at the game?
I don't. I'm like one of those non-sports type people, so I really,
my God.
I don't even speak that language. Sorry.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Say it isn't so.
I know. I feel like I'm lacking in so much of what the rest of the world is experiencing.
You know what? Can I give you a tip?
Sure, go for it.
All right. What you need to do is you need to turn on the game about 3 hours before, and then they show you the personal stories of the players. They show you the good things that they do and their mommies and their daddies, and then you get attached to the players. Like, this is what my wife does. And then she's like, oh, I want to see the game. I want to see how Russell Wilson does because he's such a good boy. He's so sweet. Did you see what he did for that kid in the hospital? And then she's totally reeled in.
Yeah, I personally just don't have that much time to waste.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. To sit in front of the TV and watch a game, it's just, I could be doing so many other things.
You're going to be watching the Larva Bowl.
Stace, what do you got?
I know when you look at your dog, you think, I love you, and your dog says, I love you back, and you wonder, does your dog really love you? If you left, would your dog have a hard time? Well, there's some proof that a dog and other animals really do bond to humans, and they really will mourn your loss. One animal specifically that you would never think of is very, very monogamous. And I'll tell you, coming up. And it's not the elephant, although the elephant is very monogamous, but there's another one that has feathers.
Bird. It's a bird.
Oh, my God. I'll talk to you later.
No, it's like what Joey's got, the parrot.
Parrot? Monogamous?
Joey doesn't have a parrot.
I got a cockatoo.
Yeah, I bet you do.
You can't give... Oh, nice, Hal.
This is a family show here, Abrams. Come on.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's made possible by Frei. helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfree.com to find care near you.
Hi, this is Paul Reiser, and you're listening to Animal Radio. Every minute you're here, you're not harming someone else.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
This is an Animal Radio News Update. I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Well, guess what they have come up with now? You know how they have fitness trackers for humans? They've got one for dogs now. But you know what? It's not a bad idea. It's a wearable fitness tracker, and it's called Voice, VOYCE. And it fits around your dog's collar, and the new gadget will track data on your dog's movements, the rest periods, plus sensors that rely on radio frequencies that can measure heart and respiratory rates. Then all of that data is sent to your tablet or smartphone via Bluetooth so you can gain insight into your pet's health, as well as track trends over time that you could share with your vet. So if your dog's a little overweight and you say, but we're outside exercising every day and it's still gaining weight, I mean, you could take a look at this. And also if you have an older dog who's got heart problems or whatever, you're able to monitor it. Pretty cool. A Florida woman says finding a bird skull in a bag of spinach is going to haunt her for life. Looks like Madeline Brogan of Sarasota made this gruesome discovery as she was draining a bag of Publix spinach in preparation for a party. She described the head as having an eye missing out of it. I'm sorry. She relayed the incident to the grocery store, and they responded by sending a rep to visit her. Well, the rep apparently gave her a gift card, a gift basket, and several packages of frozen fruits and vegetables. But you know what? Nevertheless, Brogan says she's going to probably need therapy because of that incident. Yes, and a lot of money to go along with that therapy. Well, we all put human emotions on our pets. Let's face it. You look at your dog, you go, I love you. Your dog says, I love you back. It licks your face, and you feel like you're, bound to be together forever. Well, chimps are extremely related to humans, and that's why it's not unlikely at all that they mourn after losing a loved one. Their responses include refusing to eat, they pout, they even cry. Dogs take on a different sense. We consider dogs to be man's best friend, but there seems to be no doubt that a dog really is our best friend. If a dog outlives his owner, that dog will very often show signs of deep loss, including long battles with lethargy and, for all intent purposes, depression. That's why they make Prozac for dogs. Here's something interesting. Geese. Many people don't know this, but geese mate with a partner for life. They are all about monogamy, which is kind of romantic. But when a geese loses his or her partner, they need time to grieve, and a goose will usually find a new partner over time, but it's one who has also lost their loved one. I guess so they have something to talk about. But it's just kind of interesting that, animals really do mourn like we do. I guess our own mourning is done on the frontal cortex. And there's one theory that the mechanisms that work when we or animals grieve are embedded in our brains from eons ago. I don't know, go figure. But that dog, when it looks at you and says, I love you, it does. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com. Portions of today's show are a repeat from an earlier broadcast.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's those people that sit around and watch golf TV.
Oh, that's even more boring.
No, the most boring thing is the fishing show.
Now that's exciting.
Oh, come on.
I think fishing is exciting. You see those guys, they're casting, and they're talking about the structure, where they got to go to find the fish, and then you see...
You are doped up. You're doped up, man. Hey,
No,
me and Earl are going to get in the boat. It's 5 a.m. We're going to paddle over to here and wait for the fish to bite. That's
They're
the
not
show.
waiting. They're active participants. With fly fishing, for example, you're mimicking a live fly. So it's very exciting. You are trying to be the wildlife.
Be the fly.
Yes.
Well, there you go. In just a few weeks, we'll be turning on our TV and seeing Westminster on February 10th and 11th.
10th and
because
11th.
I think it was my birthday weekend.
Yes.
I'm very excited about that, in fact. Westminster, of course, they do this every year. I've always kind of thought that it's uppity. We got to have all these certain breeds to be in it and all of that. But now I saw this big old headline that says mixed breed dogs will be allowed to compete in Westminster. I said, holy moly, what an advance. I love this. I figured, why don't we get our bud over at Westminster on the phone? David Frei. Hey, David. How you doing?
Al, how are you guys?
Awesome.
Judy, nice to talk to you. There's a little something that was left out of the middle there. It's not quite so simple as Westminster allows mixed breed dogs. What we are doing is staging an event, a new event for us, agility trial.
Okay.
And the agility, which this has been going on for years under the umbrella of the American Kennel Club. That is that agility and other performance events staged by the American Kennel Club does allow mixed breed dogs to compete. They call them all-American breeds.
Oh.
But it's a great event. Agility is the fastest growing, most exciting part of the dog show world now in terms of competition and spectator appeal. And we at Westminster, we're doing our 138th annual dog show, but that's kind of a long streak. We are starting another streak with agility, hopefully our first annual, if you will. And we think it will be an opportunity for us, first of all, to bring more dogs into the picture and get more people involved and to show people all the other fun things that dogs can do. It really, I talk about it all the time on television and anywhere else I go, and that is that Westminster really is a celebration of the dog in our lives.
Yep.
It's not just about being the world's greatest dog show, which it is. It's about the entertainment that you get with 190 different breeds and varieties. And now we're adding to that entertainment with the agility trial. You can watch these dogs run and jump over obstacles and through tunnels and on the seesaw and things like that. So I think people are going to love it.
You've added 3 new breeds this year. The Chinook.
The Chinook, yes.
The Portuguese Pundengo Pocano.
There you go. I was waiting to see if you could say that one all by yourself without any help from me.
Very good.
Came pretty close. Gives us 190 breeds and varieties that are eligible for Westminster this year. And we always have a great time. The public loves seeing these new breeds. And
yeah, we do. We learn so much.
I think we've got like 22 or 23 of them entered. No, more than that, 32 or so entered of the 3 new breeds. So that'll be fun for people, too. And then, just watch the dog show or root for your favorites. I call it the alma mater factor. If you're sitting at home with your Brittany on the couch next to you, root for the Brittany. Say, I want to see the Brittany, I'm going to root for the Brittany.
I'm working really hard to petition you guys. I'm going to get my Shapuki in through the agility world, and I'm going to get him as a recognized breed because, he's pretty special,
Well, they're all special. That's the fun thing is that there are a number of breeds that are purebred now today, purebred dogs that started by somebody sitting in the farmyard somewhere saying, I like this dog over here the way he herds my sheep. I like this dog over here the way he protects my home, and I like this dog over here the way that they get rid of the rats in my barn, and I'm going to start breeding them together and try and fix those traits. And hundreds of years ago, that's how it happened. And then pretty soon when they get a dog that has all of those abilities, they may well become a purebred dog. So it's not so far-fetched. I get the question all the time, of course, about golden doodles and labradoodles. I'm not sure they're in that same category exactly, but it doesn't really matter anyway. When it's all said and done, the real best in show dog is the one that's sitting at home on the couch next to you anyway.
Oh. Definitely.
You know what we're talking to, and you'll love this in just a few minutes. We're talking to, is it the Bill Wynne? He's do you know who he is?
Of course. He's one of my very good friends, Smoky, Yorkie Doodle Dandy.
Yes.
And actually, I was guest hosting a TV show a few years ago on Fox, and Bill Wynne was one of my guests. And I didn't know it at the time until I read the sheet going in, but we started talking about him being in the South Pacific in World War II and how he found this dog and told me the story of the dog. I said, that's great. I said, where were you in the South Pacific? He says, in the Philippines. I said, oh, so was my dad. He says, your dad? He says, what company was he in? I said, he was in 26 Photo Recon. He says, that was my company. He says, what's your dad's name? I said, Jerry Frei. He says, oh, my God. He says, I knew your dad.
Wow.
Yeah, how's that for a small world? And when I got done with the piece, ran to the phone back in the days before cell phones and ran to the phone and called my dad. He says, I know Bill Wynne, and I remember that dog. That was a great dog.
Well, that was like the first therapy dog ever, too.
Well, there's a lot of sentiment to that. I wrote about Bill, actually, in my book. I wrote about Bill and Smoky in my book, Angel on a Leash. And not only did the dog do therapy dog work in the Army hospitals, so I think there's a lot of sentiment, and rightfully so, that perhaps Yorkie was the first therapy dog.
That's well, we look forward to talking to him in just a few minutes. He's got to be, we're thinking, in his early 90s, maybe?
Probably. Could well be 90. My dad would be 90 this year if he was still alive. So because of me running into Bill and finding that out, I was able to put my dad and Bill back together, and they went to reunions together and saw one another and told stories. But isn't that amazing? What an amazing small world story that was.
Absolutely. Awesome. We look forward to talking
to
him.
I love Bill Wynne. Please give him my very best.
I will do that. David Frei, thank you so much for spending time. We got you last minute to come on to speak with us today, and we appreciate that.
Happy to do it, but just know that we've got enough things for everybody at Westminster this year. The agility trial on February 8th, it's going to be televised. The finals are going to be live on Fox Sports Network on Saturday night.
What's the website?
WestminsterKennelClub.org.
There's one thing missing, Dave. There's one thing missing from the show.
What is it, Alan?
You need like a best-in-show human competition where the dog leads the human out, and the people judge the human, not the dog, or the dog and the human. How they perform together as the dog leads his human proudly around the ring.
We are, and I talk about it all the time. People say, well, what about the movie Best in Show? I said, didn't make fun of the dogs, didn't make fun of the sport, only made fun of the people, and we admit to being a very target-rich environment.
Yep,
our people. We have a great time.
Pet lovers, we're a strange kind, but we love our animals. I'll tell you that
That's
so much.
all that matters, right?
David, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks
We're going to head back to the
on.
phones in just a second.
I would love to go on vacation, but I don't want to leave our Charlie behind.
I agree. I heard that the magazine Fido Friendly lists places where you can stay with your pet. They also offer reviews so you have an idea about pet policy to include any restrictions, fees, and what pet amenities to expect.
That's, dare I say, awesome. What are we waiting for?
I'm way ahead of you. I just logged on to FidoFriendly.com and found a 4-star resort, Hilton Santa Fe Resort and Spa at Buffalo Thunder in New Mexico.
Charlie agrees. When do we leave?
As soon as you can pack your bags. It's off to adventure with Charlie, thanks to Fido Friendly Magazine. To find your next family adventure that includes your furry family friend, log on to FidoFriendly.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
In New Mexico, a woman whose dog tested positive for cocaine and marijuana is fighting to get the canine back after surrendering the Labrador Retriever because of a $2,000 vet bill. Yeah, apparently he dropped the dog off at the vet, and the vet tested the dog, showed traces, strong positive in cocaine, marijuana traces, and saw the dog twitching and shaking. Dog's okay, by the way.
Gosh.
She wants the dog back. City officials say they found no evidence to charge this lady. She doesn't know how the dog got into
it wasn't
pot
mine.
and the cocaine.
Well, dogs get into everything. That's quite possible that he got it from somewhere else. You know how dogs are.
They haven't given that dog back, have they?
Yeah, they actually have given the dog back.
They did.
City officials said they found no evidence to file charges against the owner. They can't prove that it was her marijuana or her cocaine.
Yeah, that seems kind of crazy. It could have been anybody. But you know what? My dog eats crap at the park all the time. And in fact, when we were up in Utah recently, we thought he got into some rodent bait, some gopher bait.
Wow.
And, dogs eat things. So sometimes you don't know what their nose is into.
Isn't it? Deb, how do you make, it's really strange. I think it's really, I'm kind of lucky. My dog won't. I mean, he only eats his food. And, a treat, like if I put a grape in front of him, he wouldn't touch it. He might nibble on a carrot, but he doesn't eat strange stuff at all. No inanimate objects. And
He's probably, he knows more than you do, Alan, because you're not supposed to give your dog grapes. They're toxic.
No, I know that. I do know that. And it's interesting because I think he knows it or he has some instinct to, the only thing he'll chew on if I let him is a stick, so I don't let him. But he doesn't eat anything besides dog food and meat, and that's it. He won't touch anything else.
I would say that is a characteristic I do find more common in shepherds, whereas the Labrador will eat anything and everything. I see that a lot of shepherds will not eat unless their owner feeds them, and it's good. You don't want someone to lace any food.
Dayton, Ohio, an Ohio woman, she put together flyers for her lost dog, and she put, some people put like $1,000 reward or $10, whatever the reward is. Her reward was beer and a pack of cigarettes.
Beautiful.
And guess what?
Somebody found her dog?
She got her dog back.
Whoa, think outside the box.
Yeah, the dog was smoking and drinking when they found him.
and they bought cocaine off another dog. They don't know where.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by my toe. My mother said, pick this line. How about this? Patrick. Hey, Patrick, how are you?
I'm okay. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course. Where are you calling from today?
I'm in Iowa today.
Okay. And what can we do for you?
Well, I have this dog. She's 4 years old, about 4 years and 3 months old. I've had her for 4 years, and I drive a truck for a living, so we spend a lot of time in a semi-truck, which she does really well. But when we go home and in my car, she's just a spastic. I'm afraid she's going to have a puppy stroke one of these days.
So do you put her? Do you get in the car with her, just like you do the truck?
Oh yeah. Like if we go, she always wants to get in a car, but once that car gets to moving, she's just running back and forth, crying and whining and screaming, and just it's frightening.
How big is your dog? What kind of dog you got?
She's a Schnauzer and Yorkie mix, about 21, 22 pounds.
It's really, really cool. My suggestion for you really quick is just to put a crate in there. Put your dog in a crate in the car, okay? If you want to do it really quickly, and then just take off and see what she does. If she acts all calm in the crate, you're good to go. If she gets all crazy in the crate, don't talk to her. Don't look at her. Don't pay any attention. Only give her attention when she's quiet. And if she does go crazy in the crate, then what you want to do to teach her to ride in cars is, again, keep your car parked in the driveway and sit in the car with your dog. Don't even move the car. Just sit in the car. And when the dog mellows out, you tell her, good dog. And then you start the car and you sit in the driveway. And when the dog mellows out, you tell her, good dog. And then you take a trip around the block and you progress it from there. But try a crate, because the truck rides differently from a car, and she might be getting just motion sickness and fear because of all the windows, which a truck doesn't have all those windows. It's like a traveling house. It's like a traveling house, so she probably doesn't get that sense of movement in the truck like she does in the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you might have something there, because it seems like if we just take a cruise down to the lake and drive around slow, she's not as bad. But when I go on highway speeds, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, she's afraid of the sounds, the G-forces, the instability of the turning. So, put her in a crate. Put a crate in the car, anchor the crate so the crate can't move. And I bet you she'll be really cool inside the crate and calm and confident in the crate.
Well, that's a great idea. I could put that crate on the back of the Harley, too, then, right?
Oh, see, now that would be a different thing. That would be, you'd have to really get your dog acclimated to that slowly, baby steps, because you could freak her out real easily.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that idea with the crate, that sounds like a pretty logical idea, actually.
Yeah, it's all logic with dogs. When you take the emotion out of it and you really start to watch them and pay attention to their bodies and what they're doing, you can figure out whether they're happy or they're afraid or whether they're getting anxious or fearful, and then you can act accordingly. It's people's emotions get in the way. People's human emotions get in the way of them being good dog trainers.
Right. Well, hey, I appreciate that advice. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Take care, Patrick. Drive carefully.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Paul Rogers.
And Cynthia Rogers.
On Animal Radio.
Just know that it's going to be all right, meow.
If you're between the ages of 55 and 63, disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. The average is about $1,300 a month. It's a benefit you are entitled to from working. Use it to pay your normal living expenses. This free call only takes 10 minutes, and it could provide you the necessary financial relief you need. Plus, our services cost you nothing until you receive your benefit check. Save yourself time and aggravation. We know how to get the job done for you as quickly as possible. So if you are physically or mentally disabled and can't return to work, and you're between the ages of 55 and 63, learn if you qualify for your $1,300 a month check. Make this free call right now to the Social Security Disability Helpline.
800-380-4429. 800-380-4429. 800-380-4429. That's 800-380-4429.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team. Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joy Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Okay, here's one of those questions. It's kind of like, what's your last album that you would take with you on a deserted island? But in a new survey, they asked people, would you rather give up your pet for a month or your smartphone for a month? What do you think the most popular answer was? It may surprise you. It may not. I'll give you the details coming up on Animal Radio News.
Heck, I'm going to stick around for that one there.
What would you give up?
Well, of course I would not give up my pet. My pet is my family.
Yeah, I would never give up my babies.
I know what Alan, he would immediately give up his smartphone. He's trying to get rid of his smartphone now anyway.
He can't figure it out how to work it anyway.
I just get so irritated by these phones and these people. I mean, I see people just glued to them like, they look like prisoners. They really do. The phone has them to where they're not doing anything but staring at it. And, you know, they're at practice, the boys' basketball or the girls' dance, and all they do is stare at their ridiculous devices. It's just...
This is so true.
Stupid.
Oh, when you go out to eat.
We went out to dinner the other night at a beautiful
family.
restaurant. We're sitting there having conversation. We're looking to the left and to the right, and everybody's on their phone texting.
Yeah, parents and kids, and even the parents have their own phones, and everybody's sitting there looking at their phones while they're out to dinner.
It's very sad. It makes me depressed.
Well, let me tell you, it can be a blessing and it can be a curse, these little phones here. Now, Alan just got his first smartphone, 2 weeks ago. I don't know if he's downloaded the Animal Radio app.
I never look at the dang thing. You know what I do with it? I check my email, and what else do I do with the damn thing? I check the weather, and I make a phone call, and that's it. Other than that, it's off.
Yes, okay. Well, if you just don't get tired of hearing Alan Cable, download the Animal Radio app for iPhone or Android. It's a free download, and you can listen to Alan's voice over and over and
Why would you
years
want to?
Back in history.
Why?
Furthermore, you could even ask questions of Alan and of Dr. Debbie and of the whole dream team here, right from the Animal Radio app. I'm one for the smartphone. I think it's a blessing. We have Alan, who thinks it's a curse. Dr. Debbie, she's frequently on her phone, so I suspect that you find your smartphone to be very helpful for you, right?
I sure do. You know, and I have to say, I'm on the other side of that. I laugh at the restaurants with people when the whole family's on it, but I found myself and my husband occasionally we'll pull up something. We just got to show each other something from the day or a photo, and so we're both doing it, and we're like, oh my God, we've turned into those people.
Yeah. You know what else is? You've said that a lot of times people will show you, they'll take pictures of things that they can't show you in the office there. That, like their animal might move around or go into seizures or something.
Absolutely. Videos, I get photos. You know, I've seen vomit photos. I mean, vomit and diarrhea photos are pretty much the most common thing I see.
She asks for them. She asks for them. She wants them.
I do. You need the evidence. You know, you can't just, for what you might describe, diarrhea might not really be diarrhea. So, you know, I got to see it. So, it's gross.
That's just an excuse. She loves it. She's got a top 10 list.
And welcome to our phone lines, Bill Wynne. He is an American author, a decorated World War II veteran, a dog trainer, a photographer, just really kind of everything. What I aspire to be, have my hands in everything. Bill, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be on it.
Where are we calling you today?
Mansfield, Ohio.
Mansfield, Ohio is home, okay. I wanted to talk to you about Smoky. who is no longer with us, but you got her during the war. She was a 4-pound, 7-inch tall Yorkshire Terrier. And where were you stationed, and how did you find her?
I was in Ehrenzweig, New Guinea in 1944. It was with the 91st Photo Recon Wing. And my buddy Ed Downey was driving through the jungle, and his Jeep stalled, and he jumped out, threw up the hood, start wiggling wires, and he heard a yapping on the side of the road. So he looked over, and he saw this little gold head trying to jump out of an abandoned foxhole. Wow. So he reached over, picked it up, and threw it on the seat of the Jeep. He didn't like dogs, but he said, what kind of a mutt is this? And he threw it on the seat and drove back to the motor pool, gave it to the motor pool sergeant, and came back to my tent and told me about it. And I said, why didn't you give it to me? And he said, well, I don't want a dog in my tent. So I went over to see the dog, and I offered Sergeant Dare, the sergeant in charge of the motor pool, 2 Australian pounds for it. He wanted 3, and I said, no, she might not live, and I walked away. The next day, Dare came over and rapped on the door of the photo lab, and he yelled out, hey, Wynne, you want that dog? He says you can have her for 2 pounds. I want to get back in a poker game. So that's how I got Smoky.
What a great... So you carried Smoky around with you? I mean, I can't imagine it. You're in wartime, and all of this is going on, this cute little dog, protecting this dog, as well as protecting yourself and everybody around you. How did you do that?
Well, the dog was a great diversion for me because it took any worries I had about myself, and I became more concerned with her. She went through about 150 air raids with us.
Wow.
She flew 12 combat missions. That happened because I came back after a combat mission and was telling the guys in the tent about how it went, and they said, hey, one of them said, hey, Wynne, if you get knocked off, I can have Smoky, can I? And another guy says, no, I want her. Another one says, I want her. And I said, well, the heck with you guys. I'll take the darn dog with me. And with that, I took her on 12 combat missions, and air sea rescue, Catalina, to Borneo from Biak Island, a 22-hour nonstop round trip. I mean, this was war. This dog couldn't get out of the bag because she would go to the bathroom, and as I say, it was war. We didn't have a bathroom ourselves in that plane.
Sure.
And so, anyhow, she went through all of this with me.
I can't imagine that your superior officers were happy about this.
Well, we had nothing over there. We didn't. We had no Paris or no London. Our guys didn't see a woman for a year if they were not hospitalized and saw a nurse or get a furlough to Australia. Wow. Luckily, I had 2. I took Smoky on the first one. I was a convalescent leave, and I was asked by the Red Cross to take her on rounds to hospitals, and we did that at 2 hospitals there. And first happened in Ehrenzweig, New Guinea, when I had dengue fever. The nurses saw Smoky, and they asked if they would give them permission to take her on rounds with the CO said they could. And I said, sure. So they took the dog every day at 7:30, brought her back at 7:30 at night. Everything was taken care of, and they told me that Smoky could sleep on my bed. So here she's sleeping on my bed for 5 nights in a hospital and going on rounds. And that turned out to be the first therapy dog on record.
Wow.
So that's how that happened.
Why aren't they making a Disney movie about this? This is a great story. This is a great kids movie waiting to happen right here.
This dog had so much. There's so much to it, and it's unfolding. She died in 1957, but she has a memorial on top of her grave in Cleveland Metro Parks with a bronze of her in a GI helmet.
Wow.
She has 6 altogether in the United States, 6 memorials, and now 1 in Australia. And that's on the site of a place where we did the therapy dog in one of those hospitals. This is an Australian hospital on it now, and it was a huge military affair, and the governor of Queensland unveiled the memorial.
Wow. Now, she was the greatest dog in history, but I understand she lost her good conduct medal.
Yes, well, she had when I was in the hospital, the guys, I sent her up with one of the fellows with a pilot, took her up to Hollandia, and he let her run loose, and she came into season, so I didn't know. I took her down to Australia, and I had her working in all these wards and everything. I came back, and we're on BIAC, and I'm really teaching her how to walk on the top of a drum. She could do over 200 tricks. I taught her how to walk on the top of a drum, and she rolled over on her back, and I said, what's the matter, Smoke? And I put her up and she did it again. So I took her to the tent, and she had this little black ball in the sack, and oh my gosh, I ran around looking to see if there was any more, and she lost her good conduct medal for a year on that one.
I don't know if I'm following. She had a puppy?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Oops.
Yeah, she had a puppy. By surprise.
How did you get her home? I assume that you had to smuggle her home?
I smuggled her home. That was a sweat for 2 years for me, really. I had to smuggle her home in a bag, and that's a little bit of a story, but I got caught, and I had to go up to the captain of the ship. He said, you know what this is going to cost you? And I said, no. He says, $1,000. I said, what? He said, yeah. You got the $1,000? I said, no, but I can borrow it from my buddies. I had about 275 of my buddies on the ship. And so he said, just sign this paper. So I signed the paper, and it had to do with a bond if I had a post a bond. And after that, it was fine. We got off the boat, and they had about 2 lines of officers saluting us, and they were playing the Star-Spangled Banner, and we came down the ramp and got into a GI truck, and I was safe on land. Wow. But after all that sweating it out.
That's a great story, man.
I know there's a lot of dogs now, but back then that was very uncommon, I guess.
Especially such small dogs.
Yeah.
Little 4-pounders.
Yes.
You can walk a tight wire blindfold and spell her name out of letters.
Very smart.
I went 42 weeks live on television and never repeated a trick.
Wow.
Well, I encourage people to come check out your website. It's smokywardog.com. And that's, by the way, Smoky spelled without an E, SMOKY, wardog.com.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll link to it from animalradio.com because I know there's a lot more information over there and you've got a lot of story to tell.
Yes, and there's also a book called Yorkie Doodle Dandy, and it's very, very popular. It's 17 years old, and it's still in the top part of the sales on Amazon.
I can see why. Man. I can see why. I hope there's a movie deal in the works sometime down
there
the road.
Should be.
There should be.
Hey, Bill, do you have any dogs now?
Yes, I got 2. In fact, I got them in a pen over here so they didn't go running out barking while we're on the air here.
That's so cool,
they imagine things are at my door, and this is a game they play. So in order to keep them quiet, I put them in a pen over here. 2 Yorkies, one's 3 pounds and the other is 8.
Whoa,
and,
so cool.
One's called Smoky 2, T-O-O, and the other one is Smoky, and I use them to give talks at libraries and so forth. So I get around, and we're doing a lot of things.
I love you, Bill.
Very impressive.
You're doing great work.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging with us today, Bill. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate being with you, and I would thank you so much for having me on your show.
Take care.
Oh, man, he's a nice guy.
Hopefully we'll talk again to Bill.
Yes, definitely.
They don't make guys like that anymore.
No, they don't.
And Judy, what a great interview. What a great job you did securing that. That was quality entertainment right there. That's the stuff I love right there.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. That's 800-705-1198.
Portions of today's show are a repeat from an earlier broadcast.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
And we go to Laura. Hi, Laura. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. What's going on with your animal?
She's a Cymric Manx. She's long-haired. And she's about 11 years old. I had her spayed before she ever went into heat. But starting in October, the megacolon issue popped up.
Okay.
We did get that taken care of. It was through diet and other medications, but now all I'm giving her is a prescription dry food and canned food and a quarter teaspoon of Miralax mixed with 1.5 milliliters of water a day. So that helps, and she's fine on that. The main problem is urinary incontinence that she's having, and all the vets that I have taken her to are saying it's due to her breed.
I'm going to address a couple of things that she brought up. The first is that she has a Manx kitty, and Manx kitties are genetically a breed that have been selected for the lack of a tail, and they do carry a gene that can predispose them to some problems with both urine and stool continence. And typically, these symptoms may show up when they're young, when they're kittens, but in some cases, it may not come on until later on in life. And it is very challenging because we're dealing with maintenance issues. So it tends to be a problem with the development of the spine and the nerves from the spine. So there's not a lot that you can do to fix some of those things, but we can try to help some of the symptoms related to that. So normally, she mentioned megacolon, which is a very overly large colon, and severe constipation where the cat just cannot empty their bowels. And stool softeners like Miralax are definitely helpful, as well as playing with different types of therapeutic or prescription diets. So that can help with that. Now, the urine incontinence, a lot of kitties with this will have scalding, like urine scald on their hindquarters. They'll leak urine. They really just don't have any control over their urinary capabilities. So if that's the case, it really requires a close investigation. So in many cases, we'll have to do some basic x-rays, collect a urine sample, and really do some physical evaluation. So for me, it's very important to find out if this kitty, if we can empty her bladder with what we call manual expression, because there are some medications that we can try if we've got the ability to empty that bladder for her. And I didn't kind of hear all of what she was trying and what might have worked and not worked, but there are some medications. There's one called bethanechol that can help to make the bladder contract better. There's another one called prazosin, which actually helps the lower urinary tract, the urethra. It makes that relax. And so sometimes a combination of those medicines may be needed to help them with that urinary continence. And the big thing is also to make sure we just don't allow infection to happen, because for these kitties, they sometimes hold their urine for long periods of time, and they're going to be more prone to get urine infections. So we have to be really vigilant in having regular urine checks intermittently throughout the year. So these are not simple kitties to keep. You got to really keep up with a lot of close veterinary contact with these guys.
Yeah. Wow, I almost got a Manx once, but I was unaware that they had those kind of issues.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know that.
Don't forget, you can get any one of Dr. Debbie's books over at Kindle: Yorkshire Terriers, Shih Tzus, Pugs, Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. And, of course, we link right to that from animalradio.com. Stacy, what are you working on?
If you live in an area where there's a lot of deer, you know how dangerous it is when you're driving at night, because they just dart out in the middle of the road and you can't see them. It happens so quickly. Well, in Norway, they have a problem with reindeer that are killed. A lot of them, and there's over 200,000 reindeer in Norway. But they've come up with a solution. I'll tell you what it is on Animal Radio News.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, it's Alan Cable. We got a call on Animal Radio about what to do if your dog jumps on you. That's a common problem. Let's talk about it. First of all, let's review. Your dog learns mostly everything from watching you. Your body language, your behavior. Let's say your dog does something wrong and you're upset about it. A lot of people think, oh, look at him. He knows what he did. He looks guilty. Unless you catch your dog doing something you don't like right then and there and make a correction, or ignore him, he has no idea what you're upset about. He just looks guilty because you're upset and your body language is telling him that. that. He doesn't understand what you're saying, but he does recognize the tone of your voice is not being happy, and your body language and movements tells him the same thing, so he looks guilty. Again, unless you catch him red-handed, he just knows you're not happy, and that's why he looks like that. He doesn't actually know what he did wrong. Now, dogs jumping on people is a very common thing. Some people don't mind it, and some people don't like it, and that can cause problems and misunderstandings for a dog. It has to be either one way or the other. He can't jump on some people and not on others. They simply don't understand that. It's too complicated. So if you don't want your dog to jump on you, he can't jump on anybody, and you're going to have to tell people, no, I don't want him to jump on you. It's okay, I don't mind. No. He's not allowed to jump on people. Some folks will come along and prod the dog to jump on them. Come on, boy, up. Well, you've got to put a stop to that and make sure he understands the rules. First thing to do is pay no attention to your dog for 15 minutes to a half hour when you come home and the same amount of time when you leave. Make it a non-event. This way your dog won't get excited when you come or go. When your dog does jump on you, immediately turn around, show him your back. Don't talk to him, don't look at him, don't pay any attention to him. And do it several times. Just don't give him any attention at all if he jumps on you. And wait for him to either mellow out and sit or walk away. Then tell him, good dog. Now, it's going to take time and patience, but your dog's going to learn that jumping up on people is just not okay. He's also going to learn that he gets attention from you when he's mellow and calm and not excited and anxious. So to review, if your dog's jumping on you, it just means he hasn't learned not to.
Hi, this is Doug Ray of the Marshall Tucker Band, and forever you'll always be listening to Animal Radio. Keep loving those pets.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacey Cohen for Animal Radio. An explosion that caused thousands of dollars in damage to a house in England is being blamed on a puppy and a can of deodorant. According to the Mirror, Carrie Leach and partner Matthew Heckler were notified about the explosion in their home via text. They arrived on the scene worried about their many pets, but firefighters assured them all the animals made it out just fine. However, they also explained one of the couple's pets, a puppy named Zeus, was actually the one behind the explosion. Turns out Zeus bit a hole in a can of spray deodorant and then rolled it right near the gas fireplace. Well, the can blew up a little while later when the boiler came on and caused more than $3,000 in damage. But Leach and Heckler say Zeus isn't being punished for his explosive bite since he's just a pup. They're lucky that whole house didn't blow up and those animals are alive. Worms are going to be feasting on the unfinished food from travelers at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. According to the Charlotte Observer, the airport obtained a composting permit. It allows them to feed wasted food to more than 1 million red wiggler worms at the airport's new recycling center. The project's been delayed for over a year because of broken equipment, but the casings from the worms are going to be harvested as fertilizer for the airport grounds. Airport officials are hoping the worms are going to help cut down on some 10,000 tons of wasted produce at the airport every year. They plan to start feeding the worms in the next few days. What may not be Rudolph with his nose so bright, but thousands of reindeer in Norway are going to have shiny antlers. Officials are outfitting as many as 10,000 reindeer with reflector cuffs on their antlers to make them more visible to motorists and hopefully keep them from being run over. A senior advisor at the Norwegian Public Roads Administration said they've been testing these biodegradable cuffs and now they're ready to roll them out across the country. Norway is reportedly home to some 200,000 reindeer, but only a portion will get the cuffs since the animals travel in packs anyway. Well, there's a new survey, and it's found that about a fifth of the country may be taking their dependence on technology to some new heights. I know some people that are addicted to technology. I mean, really addicted. One is my son. I cannot get that phone out of his hand. Anyway, this was conducted by the Huffington Post YouGov, and the poll asked a group of pet owners to imagine a scenario in which they would either give up their pet for a month or their smartphone for a month. Well, what do you think? You would think, of course, they would give up their smartphone. 20% of the respondents admitted they would rather hold on to their gadget and go without seeing their animal. I could not do that. 67%, however, stayed loyal to their furry friends over their smartphones, and 13% said, smartphone, pet, smart. They couldn't decide, didn't know what to do. I don't know. How could you do that? Like, your hair blower, that might be another thing, but your smartphone? I'm Stacey Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating our connection with your pets. You can ask your questions on the Animal Radio app. It's a free download for iPhone and Android. And this one comes off the app from Jesus. Oh, he wanted me to change his name? I'm sorry. This is a different Jesus than you're thinking of. He wants to know, and I think this is for you, Dr. Debbie, he wants to know if dogs have the same organs as we do, and do they burp? Do they burp?
Great question. I like that. Because that's something a lot of people sit there and go, I wonder, and they just don't want to pick up the phone.
I don't know.
So yes, animals do have the basic same organs that we do. Now, sometimes they can be different. So, for example, the cow has a 4-chambered stomach.
Wow.
Reptiles and amphibians have a 3-chambered heart. So some of the differences within the species. But absolutely, dogs do burp. And some dogs burp quite a bit more than others, and tends to be those that gulp their food or swallow a lot of air. So maybe like a dog that's brachycephalic, like a bulldog or a boxer, they kind of pant and gulp more just in normal breathing. So they might pass a little more wind, and they might burp a little bit more. But yeah, absolutely, you might find your dog burping away.
Ladybug's a big burper, isn't she?
She does. After she eats her food, she turns around, looks at me, and then...
It's better to come out that way than the opposite end, in my opinion.
Good.
Yes, absolutely. It's so cute, too, because she's just a little dog with a big old
9 pounds.
burp.
She just turns around and let burp.
Excuse you, Ladybug. There you go. Well, that's a good question, and I can understand Jesus, who wanted your name changed. We have Tammy on the phone. Hi, Tammy. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Save us.
I'm trying. You guys are having a good time, though, without me, so I'll do the best I can.
What's going on?
I have a 1-year-old boxer. Actually, he's one of 3 boxers. And every time I come home and let him out of the crate, he attacks me with so much excitement. I mean, I don't know what to do.
What do you do?
Well, I ignore him. I turn my back to him, to which he just jumps all over the backside of me.
That's perfect.
I tell him no, and I put my hand flat out in front of his face. That does absolutely nothing. He's just so excited.
Okay. Let's talk. Yeah, and you know what? That's pretty common. And I always tell people when they come home to ignore their dog for the first 15 or 20 minutes, and when they leave, they should ignore their dog for the first 15 or 20 minutes, because we talk about triggers. And when you leave the house, there are certain things you do that let your dog know that you're leaving, and that gets them cranked up on the juice, I like to call it. And young dogs, they get cranked up on the juice big time. And so since dogs don't talk, we have to communicate with our bodies. That's what they learn. So you turning your back on them is perfect, and you've got to keep doing that. It won't work instantly. A lot of people think, oh, that didn't work, I got to try something else. But turning your back on your dog, ignoring your dog when he's doing things that you don't like, is a great way to teach your dog to do things that you do like. That's what you want to do. Usually when a dog jumps on you or he doesn't walk on the leash properly, it's not because, he wants to be bad. It's because you haven't taught him that you don't want him to do that. And the best way, again, to teach him is to ignore him. So what I want you to do is when you come home, don't let him out of the crate. Just go about your business. Don't talk to him. Don't look at him. And it's very hard for humans not to talk. We want to talk. That's how we communicate. Dogs don't talk. They just watch you. So I always tell my kids, I love being with the dog because he doesn't talk. Because my kids talk and talk and they never say anything. They just keep talking. So when you come home, ignore him for 15 minutes. Let him out of the kennel. If he's probably not going to be as excited because he's got 15 minutes to calm down. He's going to start to learn that when you come home, you're not going to let him out of the kennel right away, and only let him out when he's calm. Then you let him out. If he jumps on you, turn your back on him and pay no attention to him. And it might take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month before he starts to figure out, okay, I'm not getting any attention anymore for jumping on her. Then when he sits down and he's calm, that's when you give him attention. Remember, that's a very important rule. Only give your dog attention when he's doing what you want him to do. Never give him attention when he's doing what you don't want him to do because it confuses him. Look at it from the dog's point of view. If he jumps on you and gets attention, even if it's negative attention, well, he's going to keep jumping on you. So you ignore them when they're doing what you don't like, but you've got to do it for a period of time, a long period of time, and you've got to have patience and stick with it.
All right.
I will
definitely do that because he's killing me. And I just have a 12-week-old puppy. He's kind of teaching him the same.
Oh, of course.
Anxiety.
They feed off of, they feed off. So you being calm, remember, ignore them when you come home, ignore them when you leave the house. That's key. That's a very important thing.
Okay, so before we leave, we put them in their crate. And then just kind of like hang out here and then go? Yep.
Yes, put them in their crates 15 minutes to a half hour before you leave, or else that will be a trigger. See, in other words, if you put them in the crate and you leave immediately, the dog is going to know when you put him in the crate that, oh, you're leaving, and he's going to get cranked up again. And he's going to bark, and he's going to get all anxious. So what you do is you put him in the crate sometimes when you're not even leaving. What you do is you trick them. You change the pattern. So maybe once every other day you just stick them in the crate for no reason at all. Go into the next room, whatever it is. But when you leave the house, put them in the crate 15 minutes to a half hour before you go. It will give them a lot of time to mellow out. Don't say goodbye. It's going to be very hard. You're going to forget. You're going to go, oh, see you later, boy. Don't say anything. You can do it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Alan, what if the dog is doing something destructive?
Well, when a dog's doing something destructive, you got to make a major correction right then and there so that he connects the dots. So, let's say your dog starts chewing your furniture, right? You immediately give him a correction. You immediately go over there and you if he's got a leash handle on, you flick your wrist, give him a correction, or you just go, no, and you just tap him on the neck with your fingers, and then you stick a toy in his face that he's allowed to chew. It's all about teaching them what you want, setting them up for success, and rewarding them when they're doing exactly what it is you want.
That's how my wife trained me.
Well, when you think about it, dogs and men are a lot alike because men don't hear what women say. They just notice the body language. Like, oh, honey, you're mad? Yeah, because the woman turns her back on him and walks away, and then he's like, oh, something's wrong here. Something's wrong.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
A cat in Rhode Island seems to be able to predict when people are about to die. 2-year-old Oscar was adopted as a kitten and grew up on the dementia floor of the Steerhouse Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Soon health workers began noticing that Oscar would enter a patient's room and curl up next to them during their final 2 hours, somehow sensing when a patient was about to die. Oscar's predictions are so accurate that nurses are able to alert family members so they can come say their final goodbyes. No one is exactly sure how Oscar does it, but many family members appreciate the companionship Oscar provides for their dying loved ones. Oscar recently received the wall plaque commending his compassionate hospice care. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
This is
Animal Radio. This one? Okay. Hi, Teresa. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. How about you?
Good. What's up? I understand you want to talk to Alan.
I do. My dog my dog started chasing cars.
Oh, now let me ask you this before you go on. Did it just start?
No. He's been doing it probably for, I don't know, maybe 8 months or so.
Is it the same car?
He lays in the middle of the street, waits for cars to come by, and he stops them. He stops them, and then when they start to roll past him, he jumps up and starts running after the front tire and biting at it.
Yeah, so he's got the herd instinct. You know, dogs like that, they're a lot of dogs are herd dogs, and they're used to, they're bred to herd sheep, or they have it in them, herd sheep and herd other animals. So they look at cars as an animal or a sheep. So that's very dangerous behavior. You don't want them to do that.
No, one of the things that has happened is that I don't get enough time to walk him. I work nights. You know, I work late in the evening. My husband works days, so we're not inclined.
And you brought up that's a very good point, because one of the best ways to stop a dog from doing that is to give him a lot of exercise and get all that energy out. So if you don't have time to do that, let me ask you this: why can't you just keep the dog leashed up or in your yard so that he can't do that?
He's never been fenced. He's never been a problem up until now, and he's just. You
said he's been doing this.
He runs the neighborhood. Let's just say that within a block radius. You know.
You said that he's been doing it for a long time. So why is he now become
for 6 months? For about 6 or 8 months.
Chasing the cars for 6 months. Okay. Well, there's a couple of things you can do. Number one, you can go out there with your dog and have him connected to a leash, and you've got to give him a correction every time you've got to redirect him every time a car goes by, so that you can focus his attention on something else. So a car goes by, you're out there, your dog prepares to just chase the car, and you give him a snap of the leash, quick correction, and then focus him on walking in the opposite direction, or focus him on a frisbee or a toy, throw a frisbee, and then give him a treat. The other thing you can do, and I hate to tell people to do this. A lot of people think this is mean, because I don't trust the general public with these things. But a shock collar works really well if you know what you're doing, and the way you would do that. And again, a lot of people think this is mean, but a dog getting hit and killed by a car is way worse. I've done.
I know. We kind of joke around a little bit about it and say that's his retirement plan, you know, because he's 12.
Well, I can tell you this. I've done 3 dogs. I've taught them to be afraid of cars, and they were dogs, again, who like to chase. So all I did was I had a frisbee catch with the dog, and then what I did was I geared the frisbee towards a parked car so that the dog was looking at me and ran head first into the parked car. And believe me, after that, the dog was afraid of cars, understood that a car can give him pain. The other way I've done it is with the shock collar, and it's very important, you know, when you put a shock collar on a dog, to understand there's no talking. There's no talking involved. You don't say, when a car comes by, you wait for him to make his move and you give him a jolt, but you don't say anything. Because if you say like no, your dog will associate the word no with the shock, and when you're not around, he'll still continue to chase cars. So basically, you give him a little jolt or a warning, and then a jolt when he makes his move to chase the car, and he will associate the car with a shock. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Debbie was talking about how they teach dogs not to go near rattlesnakes, and it's a lot the same, where they will teach the dog, you know, first to see the snake, then sniff the snake, and then to walk around the snake by using a shock collar. But you got to be real careful. It's better to get the dog lots of exercise and stand out there and give the dog an immediate correction every time a car goes by to refocus his attention on a frisbee or a toy that he loves, or something else that's appropriate, and then you give him a reward for not paying attention to cars. That's the best way to do it.
Okay. Well, the other thing I was thinking was a squirt, you know, like a squirt bottle with a long spray on it.
Yeah, squirt bottles, you know, you could try it. You know, again, the first thing you want to do is determine why your dog chases cars. And it sounds like your dog just has that herding instinct or that prey instinct and looks at the car as, you know, a herding animal or a prey. So, you know, you could try a squirt gun to redirect his attention, but a leash works way better when you have a little choker chain on there and you give him a nice snap of the wrist and a correction, and then just refocus him. You know, refocus him and then throw a frisbee in the opposite direction. And then when he goes for that, you go, good dog.
Yeah, I can't see how a squirt gun would work in that particular situation.
You can try anything, but again, you can give a dog a correction with a leash, and you can give a dog correction with your fingers, and you can give a dog a correction with your voice. Mm-hmm. And, that's the best way to, because what you want to do is, here's your dog. He's got his total attention on the car. He's thinking in his dog mind, I'm going to chase that car. I'm going to chase that car. I'm going to chase that car.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he looks like. He looks like a maniac.
And then you give him a sharp, hey, snap, like it's almost like you're talking to somebody and they're daydreaming, mm-hmm. and you hit him in the shoulder and go, hey, are you listening? It's the same thing with the dog. You redirect and refocus his mind so that he's not thinking that anymore. And then you redirect him to something you want him to chase and you want him to think about and you want him to do, and then you reward him for doing it. So you set him up to succeed.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks for your call, Teresa. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for all your help, and I really appreciate all you do on Animal Radio.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you listening. Without you, we'd be talking to nobody.
Okay.
Thanks for calling today.
Which Hal does every day at 3.
I do this in front of my fish bowl. I do it for my fish.
I was going to say your fish bowl's empty,
and
but
frankly,
that's okay.
I'm afraid of leaving the studio today because I'm going to get, I'll run into Joey in the parking lot and probably get the business end of a wedgie for picking on him because I think
it was more Alan picking on me than you. I mean, Alan will get the wedgie.
Well, he'll just get both of you guys.
And then I'll just chase you down the block because you'll be running already.
Well, there you go. It just flew on by, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
I want to thank David Frei for joining us today. And remember, you can listen to any part of the show you might have missed today over at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android and listen anytime you please. We'll see you next week for more Animal Radio.
Bye-bye. Bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.